Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to unpack complex stuff, dig through the noise, and hopefully make it all clear and actually fascinating for you.
Yeah, definitely. And today, we're looking at a really big shift happening with AI, artificial intelligence.
Right.
For ages, really, AI was kind of like your research assistant. You'd ask it something, maybe, what happened in 1492, or
Mm-hmm.
draft an email for me, and poof, it gave you an answer.
Information back. Simple enough.
Exactly. But
Right.
that's changing. Now, the AI isn't just telling you things, it's starting to, well, do things for you.
Doing things. Like how?
It's actually stepping outside that chat window. It's interacting with your other software, your apps. It's going from just giving answers to actively working for you, like a personal operator.
Okay, wait. So it's not just text anymore.
Not just text. This is happening because of something called protocols.
Yeah.
Think of the AI as the brain, the thinking part.
Yeah.
And the protocol is like a very specific coded instruction.
Yeah.
It tells the brain exactly how to perform an action outside of itself, like how to securely talk to your calendar or your email.
So the protocol is the messenger telling other apps what the AI wants done.
Precisely. It lets the AI connect, do something specific, book that appointment, send that email, analyze that data, and then report back. It's a whole new level of getting things done.
Okay, that sounds potentially huge, but maybe a bit sci-fi. Let's make it real.
Yeah.
What kind of tasks are we actually talking about? What can these AI agents, these operators, do right now?
Ooh, there's some really practical things already. Let's start with something maybe simple but super useful. Text audio.
Text audio.
Yeah. Imagine you've got a super long article or a dense report, maybe even a long email thread you just don't have time to read.
Okay.
You can just prompt the AI to turn this into audio for me.
Mm.
And instantly it creates an audio file you can listen to.
Yeah.
While you're commuting, working out, whatever.
That's actually pretty cool. I could use that. What about one of the big limitations I've seen? A lot of these creative AIs, they don't know what happened yesterday. They can't search the web in real time.
Right. That's been a major drawback. They're often trained on slightly older data.
Yeah.
But now, using these protocols, you can connect the AI directly to a live search tool.
Ah.
So as the AI is, say, writing a report for you, it can simultaneously be pulling in the very latest information, the most relevant data from the internet right now.
So the output is creative and current.
Exactly. Best of both worlds, really.
Okay, that's useful. What about everyday stuff like email, the bane of my existence?
Email automation is a big one, especially, in a business context. The AI can write a whole professional email.
Okay.
Like draft a follow-up to that client about the contract details. It
Yeah.
does that. And then this is the key part with your explicit approval.
Uh-huh.
It sends it right from your actual work email address.
Whoa. Okay, that speeds things up, but doesn't that feel a bit risky? An AI having access to my email? Or, like, scraping data from websites. How is that secure?
That's absolutely the right question.
Yeah.
And it's why these structured protocols are so important rather than just, chatting with it.
How so?
Because when you set up the agent, you define exactly what tools it's allowed to touch and what data it's allowed to see. It's all about controlled permissioned access.
You set boundaries.
Precisely. Take web scraping,
Yeah.
pulling specific information off a website. That used to be a really technical task.
Yeah, I definitely needed a developer for that.
Right. Now, you can just tell the AI in plain English, like, go to the supplier's site, find all the new products, and get me the names, pictures, prices, and how many they have in stock.
Seriously.
Just like that.
Just like that. The AI agent does the crawling, handles the technical bits, and brings back the data, maybe even already organized in a spreadsheet for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's way beyond just a chatbot. That's like having an instant digital worker. That's a good way to put it. And it goes deeper into business stuff, too. You can tell it to update code in places like GitHub or manage project info in tools like Notion.
So, like, a project manager can just ask it.
Yeah, ask it to, say, create a project timeline based on the current tasks in our Notion database.
Yep.
Or find that specific client note I wrote last month, wherever it is. It saves so much digging.
Okay, I'm starting to see the power here. So who's actually using this stuff in the real world, especially in big companies?
Oh, large organizations are definitely jumping on this, especially for tasks where speed and context are crucial.
Like what? Give me an example.
Think about an intelligent help desk.
Mm-hmm.
A customer calls with a tech issue. The AI agent can chat with them, ask diagnostic questions,
Uh-huh.
gather the context it needs, And then based on that real-time info, it can directly use an internal tool to create a properly categorized high-priority support ticket in their system.
So it skips the whole press one Form A's and gets the right info to the right place.
Exactly. Less waiting, faster resolution. Another really interesting area is recruiting.
Recruiting? How?
Well, imagine you have an important job opening. An AI agent can connect to your company's past hiring data.
Okay.
It can look at similar roles filled before and figure out, based on who actually succeeded in the interview process, what kind of candidate profiles tend to work out best for your specific company culture and needs.
So it uses your own history to find better matches.
Right. It leads to much more personalized and hopefully successful candidate sourcing. It's using your own internal proprietary knowledge.
That's clever. But it sounds like you wouldn't use this for just any automated task, right? There must be times when it's overkill.
Absolutely, a key point. AI agents shine when a task needs, like real-time decision-making or pulling info from different places on the fly.
Okay.
Like an HR person quickly checking someone's vacation balance while also looking at their current project load. That kind of ad hoc lookup.
Right, dynamic stuff.
But if you have a process that's exactly the same every single time, like generating a standard monthly sales report, you probably don't need an AI agent. Good old-fashioned static automation is likely more efficient and reliable for that. You use the agent for the variable, complex stuff.
That makes sense. Use the right tool for the job. But all this seamless action, the AI scraping a site, checking a database, sending an email, all like that, it needs data to flow instantly and securely across the company's systems. And for big companies, that back-end plumbing must be incredibly complex.
You've hit on the next crucial piece. All these cool agent actions depend entirely on the digital infrastructure underneath. And for most big players, that means dealing with multi-cloud.
Multi-cloud. That just means using more than one cloud provider, right? Like some stuff on AWS, some on Microsoft Azure, maybe some on Google Cloud.
Yep, you got it. And most large enterprises do this. There are good reasons.
Like what?
Well, resilience is a big one. If one cloud provider has an outage, your whole business doesn't grind to a halt.
Spreading the risk.
Exactly. Plus, sometimes one provider has a specific service or feature that's just better for a particular job. And then there are regulations, like data sovereignty laws, that might force you to keep certain data physically located in a specific country's data center, which might mean using a specific provider there.
Okay, so it's pretty common. You said something like 88% of companies.
Yeah, the trend is massive. Estimates suggest nearly 88% of enterprises are aiming for a multi-cloud strategy pretty soon.
It sounds logical for safety and features, but making these giant separate systems from Amazon, Microsoft, and Google all talk to each other smoothly sounds like a massive headache.
It is the hidden challenge, honestly. The core problem is they don't naturally speak the same language, network-wise.
They're competitors, after all.
Right, their internal setups, their security rules, how they manage network traffic, it's all different, proprietary. So companies have to build these complex sort of translation layers just to get data flowing securely between them.
That sounds difficult and expensive.
It is. Reports show only about 35% of companies feel like they've really nailed their multi-cloud networking. The biggest pain points: security risks and just the sheer complexity of managing it all.
And complexity usually means cost. If it's all custom bridges and you can't easily see what's running where, budgets must just explode.
They absolutely can. Which brings us neatly to the next important concept: FinOps.
FinOps, financial operations.
Exactly. It's a discipline, a whole system designed specifically to manage the costs in this super complex multi-cloud world.
Okay, so it's more than just setting a budget. How does FinOps actually, control the spending?
It's very active, very data-driven. Think of it like this. You give your development teams access to cloud resources, like a company credit card for the cloud. But it comes with a real-time dashboard showing exactly what they're spending, and automated alerts or even shutdowns if costs go sideways.
Ah, so immediate visibility and control.
Yes. The savings come from a few places. One is just right-sizing, making sure teams aren't accidentally leaving huge, expensive servers running all weekend when they only needed them for an hour.
Happens all the time, I bet.
It does. Another is automated governance systems that automatically find and flag or even turn off resources that aren't being used. And finally, tagging everything properly so you know exactly which department or project is responsible for which cost.
And this actually works. People save money.
Significantly. Financial institutions using FinOps principles report cutting their infrastructure costs by an average of, what was it, around 26.7%.
Wow, over a quarter.
Yeah. And interestingly, they also sped up how quickly they could launch new features by over 43% because they weren't wasting money and could reinvest it smartly.
So it's not just saving money, it's actually making them more agile.
It really is.
Yeah.
But managing all this tech, the multi-cloud networking, the FinOps tools, it takes very specific skills.
Right, this isn't stuff you just pick up overnight.
No. And there's a big skills gap. That's why something like 90% of large companies are actively investing in training their existing employees on these cloud networking and financial management concepts. They have to build the expertise internally.
That's really telling. Even with all this advanced AI and cloud tech, it still comes down to people, doesn't it? People understanding and managing the systems.
Absolutely. Which kind of leads us to think about leadership and management in this fast-changing, complex world. What does it take to lead effectively when everything is so interconnected and, well, complicated?
Yeah. What are some lessons there?
Well, one big one seems to be about speed. Recognizing that deciding how fast to move is a crucial leadership choice, not just something that happens.
Speed as a decision. Explain that a bit. Speed feels like it just means more risk.
Sometimes, yes. But there's this useful idea, often linked to Amazon's leadership, about two-way door decisions.
Two-way doors.
Yeah. If a decision is easily reversible, if you can walk back through the door if it turns out wrong, that's a two-way door. Leaders should encourage teams to make those kinds of decisions quickly, like a startup would. Experiment, learn fast.
Okay.
But if it's a one-way door decision that's something fundamental, hard or impossible to undo, like changing your core infrastructure,
Yeah.
then you slow down, you analyze carefully. The leader's job is to know the difference and empower the right kind of speed.
That makes sense. But making quick decisions, even reversible ones, requires a lot of trust, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Which links to another key idea. Humility in leadership.
Humility.
Yeah, not in a false modesty way, but in genuinely acknowledging that in this complex world, multi-cloud, AI agents, FinOps, no single leader can possibly know everything. So when leaders are open about mistakes, when they give credit freely to others, when they actively ask for and listen to feedback, it makes their teams feel valued. And interestingly, studies show it actually makes those team members more likely to want to step up into leadership roles themselves later on. It helps build the next generation of leaders.
That's fascinating. It sort of builds leadership from the ground up. I also saw something interesting about diversity and inclusion, how focusing on performance and skills training can actually boost diversity, maybe without even needing specific separate programs.
That's a really important point. Sometimes the focus shifts to building strong, fair systems that benefit everyone, but maybe disproportionately help those who didn't have the same starting advantages or informal networks.
How does that work in practice?
Things like really well-structured, formal employee referral programs, offering comprehensive skills training to all employees, like a program Walmart ran that significantly increased representation in management roles just through broad upskilling and having robust mentoring programs open to everyone.
So standardizing access to skills and networks helps level the playing field organically.
It seems to, yeah.
Yeah.
When the focus is on skills and opportunities being fairly distributed, the workforce tends to become more diverse as a natural outcome.
Okay. And one last thought. Looking at all this change, the complexity, the new tools, the high stakes, it must take a fair bit of courage to navigate all this.
It definitely does. But the insight here is that courage isn't some fixed trait you either have or don't. It's more like a skill you can build.
How do you build courage?
Incrementally. Through small steps. When you're facing something huge and uncertain, like migrating your whole company to a multi-cloud setup or adopting a totally new way of working with AI agents, you don't try to conquer the whole terrifying thing at once.
No.
No. You focus on the very next, smallest manageable step you can take. You take that step, you see what happens, you learn, you adjust. Then you take the next small step. It's about building momentum and confidence through action, not waiting until you feel brave enough to tackle the whole giant unknown.
Approaching the scary stuff with structure and small wins. I like that. So let's try to wrap this all up. What's the big picture here for someone listening today?
Well, we've seen AI is really evolving. It's moving beyond just giving answers to actively doing things, becoming an agent that handles complex tasks across different systems.
Right, using those protocols to connect and act.
Exactly. And that capability relies on some pretty complex tech underneath, like multi-cloud environments.
Which are powerful but tricky to manage, both technically and financially.
Which is where things like careful network design and disciplines like FinOps come in. to keep it all running efficiently and cost-effectively.
So the big takeaway seems to be about agility. You need to be agile in learning and adopting these new AI tools. You need agility in managing the underlying tech and its costs.
And maybe most importantly, you need agility in leadership, embracing speed where appropriate, humility always.